Hi, everyone. Want to welcome you all here. And we're having technical difficulties. There we go. Just fix them. All right. Let me start with tonight. We're not predicting the end of the world. That's not what this is about. But over the last few years, we've seen rolling blackouts, cyber attack warnings, transformer shortages, and entire regions losing power for days at a time. So I asked myself a simple question. If the power grid went out for a long term this year, 2026, what would I wish I had already bought? Now, I bought quite a few things, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about them. But power goes out, and especially today, I've been thinking about that because wouldn't you know it, we just got a warning. I think it was, I believe it was Google warning that we're going to get whacked with a huge storm at 1 o'clock in the morning, anywhere between a foot and 2 feet. So power can possibly go out again. So without panic buying, I guess you could say, or without fear, just calm, practical supplies, what would I buy? And that's what I'm going to ask you also. What would you buy? Now, I don't currently have a solid water purification system or plan. So that is a weakness for me. And I'm sure you folks can help me with that. So things like gravity filters, I guess there's a thing called a Berkeley and a Sawyer. What do you folks do? Do you do boiling? Do you do like a shock method? Do you use those little pills you drop in the water? So let me know as we go through what kind of things you do for water. And we're going to go ahead and get started. I have a list of, well, initially I wanted to do 12 items, and I had about 8 of them myself, and I was going to ask you to fill in the rest, which I still want you to fill in some of them, things that I probably don't have on my list. And as I'm mentioning the different items, anything additional, let me know. So let's see. Let's go down here. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and we'll see who's furthest away from Raluca, which is about 30 feet. So right now we have Renee. How you doing, Renee? Good to see you. And I forget where you're from. I believe it was around West Virginia, in that area. You have to let me know. And let's see. Raluca, wherever Renee's from, she's already beat you. So, and let's see, we have Lady Beth. I believe you're from Canada, and welcome, Ontario. There we go. I just saw that way down below. Let's see, what else? And Renee is from Southwest Missouri. Oh well, I was close. It's only this far on the map, a really small map. And as you're coming in, I see we got quite a few others coming in. Just let us know who you are, where you're from. Don't be afraid. I know where you live. So let's go ahead and start in. I have a list of the first one I wanted to chat about is lighting. Okay, so if the power goes out, lighting is very important. You ever notice how usually when the power goes out, it always seems to be at nighttime? So I think I mentioned in another video a couple of weeks ago, the power went out. We're sitting here watching TV when the power went out, and of course, me being all cocky. Oh, I know where the light is. I ran right over there. I had one of these little battery operated lanterns, picked it up, turned it on. The battery was dead. So now it's a matter of feeling around to try to find matches or something else. So I had to make a different plan. So let me go over a couple things and let me know what you use for lights. Also, I'd like to, get different ideas of what people do. The lights go out. What's the first thing you reach for? Well, because of what happened a couple weeks ago, Raluca took her flashlight. This is on the nightstand. Can you tell it's hers? It's solid steel. When I don't behave, oh, she doesn't need a rolling pin. This is worse, okay? And it's one of those expandable ones. It goes on and, oh, I didn't know it blinks. That's cool. But it goes on and it has one of these things where I'm looking at the wall. I don't know if you can see behind there. See, it makes a nice, see behind me? You can make it really wide or really so. So it's kind of cool. So I know where that is, and of course I keep on playing with it so much with the light, it's probably going to be dead when I go for next time. But even better than the light, okay, once I get the flashlight, we don't use it much because I need the flashlight just to find this guy. And what is this? See that go on? It's kind of bright right here with all the lights. But this is a solar light. You can see when I cover the solar, the light goes on a little bit and make it a little darker. But solar lights are great. We can just hang this thing up, and when it's dark, it's like having our own little strobe light, or crystal ball. The glass is kind of smoky, and it's cool the way it puts it off. But then the next thing I do is I make a beeline for the back deck. I go outside, and I've got about 15 to 16 of these things. You stick them in the dirt. I use them all summer long in my garden and on the deck, so that each one of my plants has a couple of them. And you can see they light up pretty good. So right now, this time of year, of course, the only thing we can grow is frozen vegetables, right? So I have these all. Actually, there's one of those big long pots that goes on the railing, the banister of the deck, and I leave the dirt in there year round. And I just stick these things in here, so I get like almost a big bouquet of lights. So I could walk right out and grab these and bring them right in. So that's neat. And then Raluca came up with an idea. Now, for those of you that don't know much about Raluca, I talk about her a lot, kind of like on Tim the Tool Man. She's the person behind the fence, and all you do is hear the voice and see the top of their hat. Okay, but she's from Romania. That's where I met her. Now, Romania, as you know, was a communist country for a long time, and they were used to having these blackouts and air raids, all kinds of stuff, and they're not now. But anyways, she was brought up with her grandparents way up in the mountains where they didn't have a lot of the amenities. They had no refrigerator. They had wood stove. They didn't have running water. They had to go outside. So she was brought up this way. And what she used for light, she says, on a regular basis, not just power outage, were these oil lamps. And I remember when I was a kid, my mom and dad had several of these hanging on the wall. They had like a sconce type thing, and they were hanging on the wall. And we didn't really use them for anything, but that I remember. But I got one of these, and we keep it on top of the fridge. And boy, does this thing, it has a lot of light, and it burns very little oil. So, and this oil is very safe, by the way. You can drop it over, and if the lit wick hits the oil, 9 out of 10 times it'll just put it out. Okay, but pretty interesting. But again, she was brought up with this, so for her it was like, oh, that brings back memories. For me, it's like, oh, this is cool. So those are some ideas for lights. And anybody has more ideas for lights, let me know. I'm looking on my notes to see if I have any other ideas. Of these are the ones that I have. A regular lantern. Okay. When we were kids, we used to go out nighttime fishing, what they call hornpout fishing. I know down south, you folks call them catfish, but up north, they're about this long, and we call them hornpout. And you catch them at night. And so you go out there with a lantern. You'd one of those, I believe it was kerosene, and you light it, and it had a mantle. And I guess now they have them all different ways. They don't have mantles. I don't know if they even use those anymore. And we used to fish all night as kids. Actually, I was so young, I'd fall asleep and the rest of them would fish. So that's another kind of thing. And there's all these LED lights. There's so many different ones. Little rounds you can stick on the ceiling. It looks like a regular bathroom light. And you can, matter of fact, some of them you just touch them and they go on. But so there's a lot of different kinds. Let's see. Renee says, I have an emergency light in each room. That's smart. I should, I talk about this stuff all day. I should do that. So anybody want to send me? Renee, you have any extras? We have a lot of rooms. Let's see. Oh, I see. I think Raluca was having a different conversation with somebody. They're talking about AI and all this. Let's see. Which ones are for me? Okay, so that's not for me there. All right, so what else have we got for lights? Solar, flashlights, heat lamps, LED, lanterns, oil lamps. So I think I pretty much covered pretty much all of them. If anybody has ideas of additional things that we didn't think of for lights, that'd be great. Of course, if you're outdoors, you can have a campfire, but usually this kind of stuff happens in the middle of the winter. So number 2 on the list, food. Okay, so of course you need light, then you need, food, water, the basics. So let's talk about food. And you can see I've got a little group of supplies here. Now, like I said, the whole idea of this is not to be gloom or doom, okay? I think, up here, especially in Maine, we're about to get a foot to a foot and a half of snow, and we might lose power. And you know what we call that up here? Monday. All right. Tuesday might be the same thing because all week we're supposed to be plastered with snow on and off. All right. So again, we have a lot of snow. When I was a kid, we had blizzards that were probably taller than me as a kid. And what would my parents say? Go outside and play. All right. And I know a lot of places they get an inch and they're freaking out, but not over here. Sometimes they used to have a foot of snow when I was a kid and they wouldn't even call off school. Okay. School buses had these big chains on the tires. It was pretty cool. So, emergency food, what do? You need to eat. Well, some of the easiest things you probably have already, okay, and just canned goods. Canned goods last for quite a while. Now, we're talking for about, power outages where it's out a week how long can you go right now with the things that you have in your pantry? Do you have enough food to make it 3 days, 6 days, a week, a month? Okay, so this is the whole idea of this video is to get you ready. So canned goods have a pretty good shelf life. Most of them are indefinite, and if you don't have anything to heat things up, you can eat peas out of the can. I wouldn't really do it with kidney beans, but things that you can heat up, beef stew, there's a lot of things out there. And if you want to have meat, there's plenty of canned meats out there. And this doesn't have to be expensive. I was going to say Spam, but if you don't mind fake Spam, okay, these come from Celebrity Luncheon Loaf. There's probably some Spam in there. What kind of animal does a Spam come from? Anyways, we got these at the $1.25 store. There's a lot of things. You need to have energy. There's peanut butter, so many things you can keep on in stock. Now, what else will last forever? Ta-da! Again, dollar store. Whoops! Whoa! Dollar store. 5-pack of ramen noodles. They have all kinds. Here I got chili flavored. This is chicken. We also have on the other side. We have beef. We have pork. I don't know what other kinds they have, but we got like 4 or 5 bags up there. So all you need is the capability of heating up water to use those. Now, what if you're going to be looking more of a longer term? It's good to have some MREs on hand. Actually, we've got, I think, 3 cases? They come in. I'll have to ask for Lucas. She'll probably yell at me in the room or yell the room. I think they're 12 or 20 to a case. I can't remember. But we have 3 cases of these. Now, this one here is menu number 5. They even number them. They got so many of them. Chicken chunks, white chicken chunks cooked. And then there's some French in there. Okay, and this one here is menu 4, spaghetti with beef and sauce. And these are actually pretty good. I think the military actually used some decent chefs because we've eaten quite a few of these already just to kind of test it. How is it they say? Buy what you eat and eat what you buy so you can keep a rotation. Okay, good idea. So you don't have to worry. How old is that stuff? If you eat things or you buy things that you would normally eat, you see what I mean? You're going to have fresher stuff there. Okay, let me see. Now the MREs, those you don't even need to have a way to heat up water because they actually come with this little, like a clear plastic bag inside and some kind of metal thing. Anyways, you pour just a little bit, like a half a cup of water in that bag, and it heats up this element, and then you put your food, some of the MREs you have to heat up, some you don't. You put that food in that bag, and it heats them up for you. Takes about 10 minutes. You just let it sit there. You can warm your hands in the meantime. So I guess you could say it comes with its own stove. Okay. Now, if you're able to heat up your own water, we got these kind of things. These are dehydrated or freeze dried. What do they call them? But they're just you add water to it. Freeze dried. Okay, so freeze dried food. This one here is breakfast skillet. Look how, doesn't that look good? Even the picture looks good enough to eat. So that's a breakfast skillet. This one here is Hatch green chili and mac and cheese. This is a backpackers one. Now, the advantage of these over the MREs, I know a lot of campers and backpackers say, oh, we need to have these because they're so much lighter. And this weighs like, 5 pieces of paper. It's extremely light. This thing is heavy. But this comes with like usually a 4-course meal. It has all kinds of stuff in there, dessert, coffee, another drink. So it comes with a lot of stuff. If you want to see what's in these MREs, go through my channel, my YouTube, and you'll see a while back, I brought a box of them over to my mother's house, and we invited a bunch of the family. So there was 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 or 7 of us, and each one had a different one. So we had an MRE smorgasbord, and we went around and showed everybody what they looked like and what they tasted like. So it was kind of fun. We cooked them right there on the spot. So that video will show you exactly how to do everything. So I don't know. I haven't tried these yet. We're going to. In fact, remember what I said earlier about if you're going to be in a power outage, have fun with it. All right. So that brings me to my favorite thing. Jiffy Pop popcorn. You can get these at any store, any grocery store. And the thing is, you take out the cardboard first. It's aluminum foil. As you heat it up, boom, 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 it gets in this big ball because it's like aluminum foil that expands. They're fun to wash. The kids will love it. And when it gets about this big, you just tear it open and eat it. Be careful if you heat it up too fast, okay? You do burn them pretty easy. And again, I like to have fun when I do anything. Could you tell? So we got another couple freeze-dried things that I thought would be fun. This one here, an ice cream sandwich. Aren't you dying to know what that's like? I am. I haven't opened it yet. Ice cream sandwich, real freeze-dried vanilla with chocolate. Hey, why suffer? I mean, hey, this is a power outage. It's not a zombie attack. And if it's a zombie attack, you're gonna need food. Oh. No, Raluca's over here going like that. No, mine. Back. What did I say about zombie attacks? Okay, we have one. All right, now this here is I gotta get her to go away. Go get it. There we go. She just ran that way. I should have thrown it down the stairs. Close the door. But anyways, this one here, astronaut Neapolitan ice cream sandwich. Oh, I'm sure you can find these online. Look, what was the name of the store we got this from?
In the Kittery. At Kittery.
Was this Kittery Trading Post?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got it from a Kittery Trading Post, which is like a Cabela's or LLB and that kind of thing. They had a whole mess of different things. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. So you can see there are different things that you can eat. Let's see, what do we have here? And if any of you have different kinds of things besides dehydrated and MREs and that kind of stuff, let's see. Oh, Raluca, I see why she came over now. I wasn't watching the notes. I want that ice cream. Let's see. What do we have here? Nellie. Hi, Nellie. I just bought 3 portable saltwater lights. All you need is water and salt to light them up. Greetings from Florida. Saltwater lights. I never heard of that. You're going to have to find a picture and email it to me or text it to me or something. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. Saltwater lights. I'll definitely look it up. Huh. All right. Let me move on. Hitting the wrong buttons here. I almost hit the end stream. There's we're using StreamYard. There are so many buttons to hit here. It can be dangerous at times. All right. The next one is the big one that I didn't mention, or I mentioned before, but I need to work on, which is the water storage. Okay. Water storage is very important. What do you have for water? They say that that you need to have a minimum of at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. Okay. Now, 2 is better because you don't know what you're going to need it for. And also, when I was reading that, for the average family, you need to have at least 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons a day for cooking, or you should have for cooking and for personal things like brushing your teeth and that kind of stuff, so personal hygiene. So we have, the jugs. Of course, right now we use filters because we don't like to drink the town water. They put way too much chemicals in there, and you could taste them. So we store our own water. Actually, I think last I checked, we probably got about 6 gallons. They have those big 5-gallon jugs, but it's just too hard to turn those over every time you want water. I'd rather just get the 1-gallon jug. So, but the thing is, when you have a power outage, what happens if you lose water too? If something happens and it gets contaminated, or there's a broken line. We had that happen a few weeks ago. They were working on the next street and they shut off the water for everyone. And we went most of the day without water. But what if you went longer? Okay. So a couple things that I think are warnings or things that you should do is, number one, as soon as the power goes out, go to your tub and fill up your tub and fill up any jugs or containers you can with water right away. Now, yes, it might not be drinkable right now, but even if it's not drinkable, you can always purify water, different methods, boiling or whatever. So you can always purify water, but you can't purify nothing. So you're always best to have water on hand. Also, if you lose the water, how are you going to flush your toilet? There's so many other things. You might want to wash with it. You might want to do dishes. You might want to, clean something with it. So if you have a tub full of water, that gives you an option. If you have a couple big, those, I don't know what they call them. It's kind of like a plastic barrel about this big. A lot of kids have them, about that, about yay by yay, good measurements, right? But those round plastic buckets or pails with those, I'm breaking in a new tongue with those rope handles. Fill up 2 or 3 of those. That's going to give you a lot of water. But if you didn't take any water out and you lose the water, you're kind of stuck. You can't really make the water unless you have one of these things that makes it from the air or something, those really expensive machines. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking if there's any more comments pertinent to the conversation. So what do you folks do for water? Does anybody have any kind of a water filtration system? That's something I've started to look at. I want to do a lot of research on it, and I'm hoping probably the next few weeks to do a video about what I've learned with. But like I said, they make a lot of different systems. I mean, I know how to take care of water from out in the woods. You take one of those, you take a bottle, and I think they go with sand and charcoal and leaves. But anyways, there's a combination of where you can just pour the water and let it go through, but it's not good enough to drink. Okay. But you're getting the sediment out of it if you're getting it from a swamp or something, but you still want to boil it. And even then, if you boil it, there's still, how far down do you want to go? How many microbes do you want to go down? When we buy water from the store, it's always distilled water. So a 0 water pitcher, Renee says. So it's a pitcher with no water in it? What is a 0 water pitcher? A 0 water pitcher. If it's something that purifies water, it's kind of a misnomer the way they name that. They got to come up with a better name for that. A 0 junk water filter, 0 yucky water filter. I don't know. There's got to be another name for that. All right. like I said, there's a lot of different things out there. I haven't looked into any of them, but I'm going to. I've seen some advertisements of these big machines that you can get. You can pour water in, and a lot of them connect to the sink. But again, when you're out of power, you don't have that too. So there needs to be some kind of gravity fed thing where you can purify water. I know there's pills that a lot of backpackers take with them. You drop a little pill in the water, and it's supposed to make it drinkable. But so, what do you folks use if you use anything for that? That's a big one. And even though I'm moving on because there's other things, please do go ahead and let me know even later on so we have that. Mulder, I'm looking into trying terracotta pot filtering. Okay. What do we do? I got this. I got the water. We'll do it right now. No, actually, I haven't heard that. Terracotta pot filtering. Something else for me to look into. It's interesting the things you find out about on here. It's like I think I learn more than I share, which is pretty cool. Okay, there's I don't know how reliable this is. If you have children, have them look the other way. Compost yourself. Do your thing in a jar, make a 5-gallon bucket, bottom with leaves, sawdust, and dump under trees. I think I might find another way for us, but thank you. I have a case of canned dehydrated water on my shelf. Oh, one of those. You just have to add water. I get it now. Dehydrated water. Just add that water. Ah, boy. Ruluka has to deal with me and Renee right now. All right. Next, in addition to food, water, we have shelter. Okay. How about backup heat? So, what kind of things do you do for heat, especially in the winter? So, if we lose power tonight, okay, what are we going to do? Because actually, right now, the only heat this place has is our mini heaters or what do you call space heaters. Because, and I mentioned that in past videos, the oil heat was taken out, and it's just one problem after another to the point where we're heating the entire house all winter long, even below 0 temperatures with space heaters. And it's been pretty cold in here, even with that. So what do you do for heat? Well, if you've been watching the videos that we've been putting on, we're creating all kinds of heat machines right along. One of the neatest ones I found that I really like, because I finally got to getting one, is the Mr. Buddy space heater, which is this thing right over here. Mr. Buddy comes with propane tank, and turn it on. It puts off quite a bit of heat. Matter of fact, I just put out a video just a few days ago showing 10 hacks of what you can do with this. So not only is it a great heater, and it puts out a lot of heat. A room like this, it'll heat in no time. I use it in my garage, which is about maybe 300 to 400 square feet, and it heats up the garage really fast. But I can cook on it. I can boil water on it. There's so many things. And if you connect it to one of those 20-pound propane tanks, it'll go for like over 100 hours. That's a long time. But remember, propane, not in the house. Okay, if you're using a big propane tank, outside, you can put it outside your garage door, which is what I do. And I have a hose that goes and connects to it. That shows all that in the video. You can put it outside a window and make one of those little holes and a piece of wood under the window, which I teach about in there. So you can have it, the bad stuff outside and coming in. But remember, anything that puts off flame puts off carbon monoxide. So you want to have carbon monoxide detector handy, fire extinguisher, all that stuff in the house. And you should never go to sleep with an open flame on. Bad idea. So that's one idea that I have here. Other things, we've created different kinds of heaters and stoves. You can get something as simple as, a Crisco candle. And we have a video where we showed how to make those. Crisco, the big one. This is one of the small ones, 3 candles. And if you want, someone earlier mentioned terracotta pot. Okay, you can do that. I don't know if you can see this far away. I'm going to put the candle down here. You can cover, this is simple as that. This is one of those little science things, science lab where they boil stuff. They put the flame and they boil water in their beakers. I got one of them online. You can put that on there, light up your candle, and make your own little radiant heater. See how easy that was? Ta-da! So there's so many options, okay? And we'll talk more about some of those in a minute. So what kind of things do you do for heat? There's flame things, there's non-flame things. There's a lot of options out there. Let's see if I put any other ones for heat. There's a lot of radiant heaters. I said I went to number 5 on heat, but I didn't even talk about number 4, which kind of goes hand in hand with that, which is, what do you use for cooking? Okay, so a lot of these things, even this thing here, take off the terracotta pot and you can put a frying pan right on there. It probably won't be hot enough to do your Jiffy Pop, okay, but it'll cook a lot of things and at least boil water. But other options are, matter of fact, I show something with this guy here. You can actually take this tray and invert it underneath the handle, and you can put a pot on there. You can boil water. You can cook. But there's a lot of things you can cook with. Here's one of the stoves I made just a couple of weeks ago. And what's the fuel source? Let me get this off. It's 3 of those buffet table things, okay? Chafing fuel, they call them. These were $1, I think $1.50 each at the Dollar Tree. And this fits on top of them. And you can see it's like a barbecue grill underneath here. So you can take this top pot right off and cook on top of this. There's enough heat to, cook a burger or whatever. I put aluminum foil, otherwise it's going to drip down in your chafing fuel. And then I have another little thing on top that I put, and that was just so I could have my fan. The fan blows air around, or if you made some coffee, you could keep it warm throughout the day. So there's a lot of different doohickeys. And again, one of my recent videos shows how to make this. Something as simple as my little tuna can stoves, okay? And you could put denatured alcohol in here, a lot of things like that, and put that on the table, and you just slide that right underneath, and the heat goes up, and you cook right on top. So cooking, I think, is one of the easiest options out there. Like I said, we're going to be having that big video talking about it next week, but muffin tin cooking. Okay, down here, I have 4 of these little tea lights. Okay, so you could put something in heat on top, something to elevate it, first of all, but 4 of these will boil water. Matter of fact, we did a video probably a few weeks ago. Raluca actually did that one, and she used how many? 6, 7. Yeah, she used 7 tea lights and had a little rack above it and a baking dish. And she actually baked 2 breads, put aluminum foil over it, created like a little oven with it, and created 2 breads, cooked them both. They came out really good. I even got to sample them on camera. And I think it took like 45 minutes. Now, these things here last for 4 hours. Okay, so they're cheap. You can get them pretty much anywhere. All right. Now, I have a video coming out shortly. I haven't put it up yet, where I made these little, I call them muffin tin candles, because I made them right in the muffin tin. Okay. Now, these with 3 wicks will burn for 4 hours. With just 1 wick, we're looking at 8 to 12 hours. So they burn for quite a long time. And they put off a lot more. Each wick puts off more than one of the tea lights, because I made the wicks a lot stronger. Instead of little tiny wicks like these have, these are actually strings that I dipped in wax. So, I mean, just one of these, if you put something over there, get a smaller can or whatever, put that, you'll be able to cook with. Okay. So there's so many options. Another video we just did, we made these little self-lighting pucks. Okay, you could cook with those right in here. Matter of fact, we boiled water. We cooked beef stew with them on the camera. These things will burn. Like I said, with this, it's not just a wick that burns. The whole thing burns. So it's a very heavy flame. So it's great for cooking, great for heating up. This is designed to be a fire starter or an emergency stove. And they'll burn for an hour each. All right. So they're great. And they're reusable. Oh, they're self-lighting too. Look really close. See the little, oops. These are those self-lighting matches, those anywhere matches. So you could just scrape it on a rock. Look at the videos. You'll see how it scrape it on a rock or a brick and the light right up. So that way, even if you don't have matches, you're all set. Let's see, what else do we have for cooking here? Oh, geez, all kinds of fun stuff. Cooking and heating. Oh, here's another one for heating. You can make these different kind of candles. I drain the fluid because I don't like to keep fluid in these when I'm not using them, but you would put denatured alcohol down on the bottom, fill it about wherever you want, and it sucks it right up the strings, goes into the copper tube, and the flame comes out right here and actually goes pretty high. So they're a nice thing that'll burn for quite a long time. So there we go. There's all kinds of flames. I'm not going to go on too long on those because you can, like I said, look at our past videos if you want to know how to make them. I got plenty more coming. There's all kinds of stoves out there. Let's see. I see Renee and Raluca are talking. I'm not sure if she'll repeat these because some of them she got me last time with the dehydrated water. Let's see. Vines too. Yeah, well, the comments are there if you want to see them. I don't want to jump in halfway through a conversation. So what kind of heaters do you use when the power goes out? I know we've had a lot of power outages, and I think throughout the whole country over the last couple of weeks. So some of you have had the opportunity to do things. What have you used for heat? I'd love to hear in the comments. And if even when we're not live, like I said, you can leave them later on in the comments as well. All right. Let me see what else we got. The next one I have here is, one of my favorite things over here is, what do you do for communication? Okay, power's out. You don't know what's going on. You just lost the power. It's dark. You don't know if it's just a transformer that blew out or if it's a full-fledged zombie apocalypse, okay? What happened? How do you find out? Well, you need to be able to communicate. You go check your phone. Oh, no, I didn't charge my phone. Okay, so there's power banks. There's those automatic radios. There's so many options in that area. So you need something. A power bank will charge your phone, will keep you, so you can at least communicate for a short while. But here's one that I got just the other day. This is a emergency type radio I got. There's a lot of them online. I got this one on Amazon. After the video, I'll go ahead and put a link to this if you'd like to see. But it's amazing, the options. Okay, it's battery operated. And if you can see, that's just one of the many ways to keep it going. I didn't even put batteries in it. Okay, I figured batteries probably cost more than this does, but it doesn't need batteries. Okay, I didn't put it to any station, I don't think. It has an antenna to pull it out, okay? And let's see. I'm on FM right now, so let me... Ooh, it works.
In 99 restaurants, $14.99.
But this way here, you can put it to any kind of emergency band, find out what's going on. I just turn it down so we don't have to listen to that too much. It has, right here, flashlight. So reach for this, you're going to have a flashlight, even if the batteries are dead or gone. Why? Because of one of my favorite features, this thing right here, okay, a crank. So even if it's completely dead, all you got to do is go, and I'm charging it right now. Boom. And there we go with the, look how much brighter it came on just since I've been doing that. Wow. I didn't give it much of a charge this morning. It's been in the box since I got it. So let's see, turn that off. But it's amazing what this little thing will do. Okay, now I'm going to warn you right now. Turn your volume down because I'm going to show you a feature it has for if you're in trouble. Are you ready? I had to make sure I wasn't getting caught. So it has an SOS alarm. This thing is so cool. And if you don't want to crank it and you don't want to, oh, you can plug it in. I don't know what I did with the cord. Oh, here it is. You can plug it in over there to charge it. And you could also plug your phone in here to charge your phone. And which is right here. And it has a light over here, so like a desk light. If you want to sit there, put it up, set it on the desk so you can read. But look what's on the other side of that. Solar panel, so it's solar powered as well. They ought to make every appliance with this: solar, crank, battery, USB. So there's so many. And of course, you have your little button here. At first, I couldn't get it to go on because there were no batteries on it, and I had it on AAA battery setting, but I just put it on the other side and it's powered. Isn't this thing cool? I still don't think I have found all the different things it does. I probably should read through the instructions, but these emergency lights, emergency radios are awesome. As soon as I got it, I started playing around with it, and Lucas says, "Can I have it?" She wanted to have a radio in her room because actually the radio comes in pretty good. Guess we don't have to worry about it going dead, right? So let's see. Okay, I'm going back to the comments to see if there's anything. Okay, this one here, I believe Mulder asks, what is that one called? This, I think you're talking about this thing here. It is called, matter of fact, I even have the box for it here. Funny name. Here we go. And we'll Reluca, you can do that. She was saying put the link in the description. I'm having a hard time even. Oh, that's what she. Okay, yeah, we're gonna have a link to this in the description below the video afterwards. But yeah, Foss Power, FOSPOWER is the name of this one. Basically, I just went on to Amazon and wanted to find one, and I always look, for the bestseller, for the not the cheapest price, because usually the cheapest price is cheap for a reason, but I look for the highest reviews. Then I go through the reviews and I read them, because a lot of them that have low reviews you ever seen the 1-star reviews? Some of them are pretty stupid. It didn't come with batteries. It says it doesn't come with batteries. It didn't this, it didn't that. It's not blue. Well, it says yellow light, But so I don't take too much stock on the 1-stars, but I go through as many as I can to see, what the reviews are. So that way I'm getting something that's going to be good. I mean, I don't too worry about getting ripped off, because with Amazon, you can pretty much return anything. But I still want to have the best one right away. Okay, whoa, here's one here. Nellie says, if we lost water today, we can use the water from the water heater. Never thought of that. It sometimes holds about 3 to 5 gallons of water. You can use drinking water hoses like the ones used on RVs. Never thought of that. Water heater, if you can't use it to heat, why not use it for other things? Is it easy to drain? Yeah, it must have a drainage hole, because if you want to repair it, you're going to have to empty it. That's a good idea. Thank you, Nellie. Okay, so we got through cooking, backup heat, backup power. And another thing to have, these are the smaller incidentals, batteries, okay? Like I could put in there. But different kinds of battery. What kind of things do you use? I mean, I would have AA, because I have them for all my different remotes and stuff, normally around the house. But I'd never think of getting AAA, because that's what this takes, is AAA batteries. So you want to make sure you have some AAA, some AA. Be careful where you get them. I think I got some the other day from Harbor Freight, and after about a month, they were all dead. It was one of those deals where they were come on in and buy something, and we'll give you a free gift. And it was a free thing, big thing of batteries. Yeah, they're almost all dead. Normally, I get great things from them, but that was not one of the best deals. So yeah, you want to make sure you get name brand batteries, and hopefully, I don't know if you can check if they have an expiration date like food does or not, but you want to make sure that they will last for a little bit. Other than batteries, matches. Okay, always good to have matches around, and I have matches. I'm always playing with matches, as you know, which is why I have fire extinguishers everywhere. So these are normal matches. I get big packages of these from the Dollar General. Now these are the basically what they call the strike matches. You have to strike them on that thing. Now remember I mentioned earlier about the strike anywhere matches. This is my new thing now, my new best friend. These things here, they're a little bit different looking. They have this little white dot on the tip. When I was a kid, this is about the only kind you had. They were red. The tip was a little bit bigger than that, had more juice on it. Okay, but they were red with a white dot, and I haven't been able to find those for years. I never really gave it much thought. And then when I started looking for them, nobody had them anymore. I did searches online. Finally, I asked ChatGPT, where do I get some of those light anywhere matches? And he said, Ace Hardware. I said, oh. So I went over there and got a couple cases of them. And like I said, you could light these on a rock, on your zipper, on your coat. You can light them pretty much on any rough surface. The other day, I lit them. I have an empty propane tank outside, and I lit them on the side of the empty tank because it's a little rough. I've lit them on tar, I lit them on, so they're really great, easy thing to have. I have a home mess on the other side that when I made my little candles, I actually dipped a whole mess of them in wax, so that way I have waterproof matches. Okay, so that's another thing. So you always want to have matches. Lighters are good too, but you know, hey, the lighters go out. Geez, I had one here just a few minutes ago. They not only go out, they disappear. Oh, here he is. He's hiding on me. I've got two of these. These things are awesome, but the problem with these is you got to put fuel in them. Okay, nice flame on it. You got to put fuel in them, and the fuel runs out. What if you ran out of fuel and it won't go? But these are those, I guess you use them for cooking, flambe type torches. I love it, but be careful when you're lighting a small candle like a tea light. The thing's so powerful. By the time the tea light's lit, that whole half of the candles melted. It's like, oh no. So yeah, it's pretty hot. But those things run out. That's why it's a good idea to have the matches as a backup. Let's see. Those are those little incidentals. And how do you conserve heat? This is my number 8. After this, folks, it's up to you to come up with the other 12. Now, notice I said 8. But 8 categories is what I came up with. And each category had a whole mess of different things in there. So realistically, I tried to make it 8 because that's what I said in the advertisement. But realistically, there's like 15 or 20 different things we spoke about. But conserving heat. What if you don't have matches? What if you were caught off guard? And like tonight, how cold is it going to be? Lately, it's only been like 30 degrees, 15 degrees. That's not bad. But in the last couple of weeks, we've had some 10 below, 15 below. That gets pretty cold, especially here in the house. And since we don't have any heat in the garage underneath this, it's like a garage apartment. So it's covering like 5 big garages. There's no heat down there. The floor is where you lose most of the energy. Matter of fact, right now, as I'm sitting here talking to you, my feet are cold because they're right on the floor. I do have a quilt that I usually use here. There we go. I get them on there now. But yeah, I have to get up and walk around all the time because my feet are cold. So what do you do when you lose that? You don't have anything to light anything with. You don't have flames. Of course, you can't have flames overnight anyway. Or you do have a Mr. Buddy or something like that, but you want to go to bed now and you have to turn it off. Well, it's important to conserve the heat. Matter of fact, we're going to be having a detailed video on that coming up probably in the next couple of weeks. But things like, it's important to have things like this. What do I have here? Here's a big old sleeping bag. Okay, sleeping bag is important. I was going to show you my emergency blankets, but when I picked up the sleeping bag, they both went flying. And I don't want to go down there and get them. But you can get those emergency blankets that come in a package about this big. They're like made out of, like, I call them an aluminum foil blanket. They usually go for like $1.50 a package. LL Bean has them. You might even find them at the dollar store. But the whole idea is to unwrap it. They're anywhere from a 4-foot to a 6-foot type square thing. You unwrap and you wrap it around yourself. They're very thin, and they're Raluca's getting up on me. All right, okay. There we go. They look like this. See, that's reflecting already. And one side is very reflective, the other side not so much. So you put the reflective side facing you, and it reflects your body heat back. And that's the whole idea when you're trying to conserve heat. Is the first thing you want to do, the house already has heat, so you don't want to get rid of it. So there's creating heat and conserving heat. So when you're conserving it, you want to stop losing it, and you're going to lose it from the ground and the ceiling, but mostly the ground. That's probably a good 70% of the heat loss goes that way. So another thing they say to do is to, I have one of those down there too, a small pup tent. They put a pup tent up in your smallest room. So you find the smallest room in your house that all your family members will fit in comfortably. And you try to conserve heat by keeping everything in there instead of opening up. It's a lot easier to heat up one room than 10 rooms. Okay, so close the doors, make sure the windows are all sealed off, all that good stuff. I'm not going to get in too much detail, but you put a tent up, then you put something warm on the bottom. Usually cardboard is the best thing. We get all these ideas from homeless because they live out there. But if you notice, they don't have all these expensive tents and all this stuff here. They make like a blanket tent, and they have cardboard to sleep on. Some of them don't even have sleeping bags. A lot of them will have these, put one underneath facing up, so, shiny, on the top facing down, creates a double wall. So there's so many things you can do it. So now when you're lying down and our body heat goes out, but a lot of it's coming back, and it makes a big difference. I think they say human body puts off 100 watts of heat. I don't know if it's per hour or whatever, but 100 watts. So 2 people, there's 200 watts. And they say if you exercise before you go to bed, you put off 200 watts. So now if there's somebody else with you, you got 400 watts. And if you have a dog will give you another half of that. So maybe 50 watts, just like kids. Okay. So everyone huddling together, it'll help to conserve a lot of that heat. So in addition to sleeping bag and all, so we got somebody just came up with what I was just going to say. Linda, moving quilts. Oh, I was going to say quilts, but those moving quilts are pretty good. Matter of fact, talking about moving, they say that when it comes to the homeless trying to get cardboard, they say the number one premium rich person's cardboard is refrigerator boxes. That's what they're looking for, and washing machine boxes, because they're so big and they have the big corrugations inside, and those holes are what keep the heat. But moving quilts. And we have some more here. Renee says, I bought moving quilts from Harbor Freight, put grommets in them, and put cup holders in the wall to hang them over my windows. I guess that'd be a good idea. Harbor Freight. One year, we actually went to Home Depot and got that green insulation, and it was like a cardboard or a board type insulation. It was like half an inch thick, and we got that and we cut it out and we put it right in the window recess and taped it. That room was so warm, nothing got through. But about a month later, Lucas says, I'm going stir crazy. There's no light in this room. I can't stand that. So this year we just put the plastic, so we have the double, so we got light coming in, much better. But yeah, that insulation worked really great. And a quilt is a good idea because you can open it, take it off in the daytime if you want. Yeah. Let's see, going back to Jackson says, I store water in cat litter jugs for flushing the toilet. Great idea. Yeah, for flushing the toilet, you need to, matter of fact, that's another video we have coming up in the future is what do you do for an emergency toilet? You know, if you can't flush your toilet, you got to keep on using it. I mean, they say you can go so long with water, but that's like, you know, you have to replenish the water. Food, you can go a little longer, but you can't go that long without going to the bathroom. Okay, so that's something a lot of people avoid, but it's very important. You're going to have to go to the bathroom sooner or later. So what are you going to do? Okay, so where was I with the other one here? Let me see. We talked about conserving heat, blankets. Yeah, clothing. They say that you should have 3 layers of clothing. At least a lot of, I know, outdoor people in the winter up here in Maine. I remember growing up, mom wanted to put 3 layers on us. I mean, we had the wool, they call it wool pants, the long johns. And then we used to wear our regular pants over that. And then it was a snowsuit on top of that because you got the air pockets in between, so that's great. Even socks, we had to wear our socks and the woolen socks and the boots. And the boots had like a felt layer insulation type thing. So, I mean, yeah, we looked like little Ewoks going outside. You could take us and fling the kid out the 2nd story window and he just bounce, It's like that kid on TV wrapped with bubble wrap, So, let's see. Yeah, so there's quite a few things. And they say to use wool and not cotton because cotton, I guess, makes you sweat more and doesn't absorb the sweat or get the sweat away from your body as much as wool will. And I guess that's why sheep grow wool. Okay. They have a hard time growing cotton on them. So where are we at? Batteries, conserving. So that's what I have on my list. Now, other things, what kind of other things did we not put on the list? I'm going to mention some of the names here and see what you guys come up with. So let's have a 5-minute blitz. Okay, everybody come up with as many things that you would get that you probably don't have. Now, of course, the name of this video is 12 things I'd buy, but either you'd buy or what else do you need? I didn't talk about medical supplies because I'm in a house. My medical supplies are right here. But, and that reminds me, I wanted to ask you folks, yes or no, you can put a yes or no on. Would you like to see a video coming up on what to put in a bug out bag? Let's say the power goes out, some kind of catastrophe, and they make you leave the city. Okay, we hate to do that, but if you do have to leave the city and you have to go right now and there's police knocking at your door saying, or even if there were a fire in the neighborhood and you got to get out of your house and you're not sure if your house is going to make it, wouldn't it be great to be prepared for that and to have a bug out bag? So with that, it's, it'd probably be a little bit more extensive than what we spoke about here because you're going to need things that you would normally have in your house. You're going to need clothing. You're going to need toiletries. You're going to need the first aid kit. So if you'd like to see me do something like that, let me know. Yes, no. If you already got that down, fine. If you'd like to discuss it, I'm glad to do it. So another thing, some people say you should accumulate small bills. Okay, accumulate. You should have small bills. Okay, so 1s and 5s and 10s, so you can have some cash on hand if something happens. And first time I heard that, it said you should get small bills. So I got a bag and I put in my electric bill and my phone bill, and they said no, but I can burn them. But no, that's not what they meant. But the thing is, if something happens, and until the banks go down and all that stuff, okay, eventually probably small bills won't help. But until that happens, having cash is going to be helpful. But what's going to happen if you have a $100 bill? You go to the store, you need a dozen eggs, you buy a dozen eggs, you give him 100. He goes, I don't have change. He's going to keep the 100. You just bought a $100, dozen eggs. So you want to have small bills so you can give them the $2 and, oh, that's $2.50. I don't have change. Okay, so maybe it'll work in your benefit. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good idea, going back to the cat litter. I have cats, so I would use kitty litter and plastic bags for the necessities because, if you have cats, you're going to have those containers. We got them all over the place because we have a Maine Coon cat, so we get quite a fit of that. Lucas says, half the city lost power last year. The line at Dunkin' was... the line at Dunkin' Donuts was miserable. What a terrible outage it was that year. Again, sorry, folks. We're from Maine, okay? And It's snowing like crazy. It's a blizzard. Tomorrow, if I get up and there's 1.5 feet of snow and the roads aren't plowed, Lucas will look at me. Let's go to Dunkies and get a coffee. We always do that. Matter of fact, it was one day last week. It snowed like crazy, and no one was on the street except for plows. We went to Dunkin', and the lady says, "What are you doing here?" You know, everyone's gone. The place was empty. We had the whole place to ourselves. Usually there's a line out the door. It's like, hey, gotta have a coffee, you know. Yeah, so we go out in the snow no matter what. Let's see. So that was just a kitty litter comment. All right. So anything else? See, medical supply. That's pretty much all I had. So what do you folks have? Go ahead and let me know before we sign off. And by the way, I appreciate having so many people. We actually have quite a few here. A lot of them haven't chimed in. With everybody on here, all the ones that haven't spoken, just get on and say, hey, I'm Mike from wherever. Don't say I'm Mike. Say your own name. But give me your first name and what location you're from. I want to see how far we have reached. Sometimes we get in these different countries. As soon as I said do that, I'm looking, the numbers are going right down. I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. No. It's like I created the Home Alone syndrome. But let me know where you're from. And hi, Trish. We have Trish from West Virginia. Woohoo. I bet you're not having too much problem with snow right now, are you? Do you have a spare room? Let's see. So we got one in. We still have the same amount of people. They're all like, who's going to talk first? And I'm from Norway. Mulder, you're from Norway. Whoa. Is there snow there? I know it snows there, but is there snow there? Yeah, you're above the equator, so this time of year. Well, they probably get it a lot worse than us. Well, welcome. And Dwayne, thanks for what you do. Well, you're welcome. We enjoy doing it. West Virginia, it's snowing now. I wonder if that's the same snowstorm that's coming this way. I didn't realize it was coming from. Early in the year, you get a snowstorm, you get on the news, it's coming from here, it's coming from there. This storm here, we just heard about it. My brother, who actually is in the hospital, he's the one that told me, hey, you got a big storm coming, tomorrow morning we're going to have like over 1.5 feet of snow. That's like, I don't even go look anymore. It's like, what's the use? And doesn't matter where it's coming from, it's coming, So we went to Dunkin' Donuts, got an extra pound package of coffee. We're all set. Yes, it's starting to melt now, though. Okay, rub it in. You were my favorite person, Mulder, until you just said that. It's starting to melt now. Yeah. Look at it. It's coming here tomorrow, folks. Got a Google warning this morning. Weird. Yeah. First time we got a Google warning. Sometimes we get those kind of like what I played on the radio, warning us on TV, but we've never gotten a Google one saying it's going to snow. Google must not be from Maine. They're worried. All right. So with that, folks, if there's something you'd like to see, go ahead and let me know for future videos. We're always looking for good ideas for different ones coming up. And remember, next Sunday, we're going to be having the Muffin Tin Stove 101. I guess you can call it a video. I call it a masterclass because we're going to be talking about a lot of the different things you can do. I'm pretty excited about that. It's going to be fun. Hope to see a lot of you here then. And parents lived in Medway. That was snow. Medway. I know there's a Medway, Maine, which is up north. Is that what you're talking about? Or another Medway? But anyway, now that I'm ready to say bye-bye, now they're coming on. Raluca, in Romania, it snowed a lot, and they had the warning on the phones at 4 a.m., super loud. Yeah, probably the air raid horns, because they used to have a lot. People were, they did that just recently, didn't they? Yeah, her mother Lucas' mother called and said that they turned on those air raid horns because they were having snow coming. That was just last week. And they had the horns at 4 a.m. super loud. And I guess the people were quite upset with the government. So, yeah, Carol says, yep. So Medway, Maine. Okay, I know where that is. Matter of fact, I think I mentioned before, not to you folks, but Raluca and I are looking to move up north. We've been looking for over a year now for a home with some land so we can do a little homesteading and get off grid a little more. And a lot of them have been between Medway and Holton. So we're talking, even from here, it's about another 2.5 to 3 hours north. So every hour north, figure another foot of snow. And right now, they probably have snow up to here. We probably got about maybe 12 inches. So yeah, it's a big difference. And right on our YouTube, Renee says, where can I find your email address? Right underneath there, you go to the YouTube, the top where it says about us and everything. We have the email right there. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye now.